Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? Welcome to another edition of the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. My name is TJ Jones. Thanks for checking out the podcast. I really do appreciate it. Well, Who Dat Nation, I'm going to be honest with you. This is a basic impromptu episode of the State of the Saints podcast because for the last couple weeks, we all know that Michael Thomas, he is up for a brand new contract. And according to sources, Michael Thomas wants $20 million a year. To be exact, he wants $22 million a year. So that would make him a $100 million receiver if he was to sign a 5-year deal. The Saints want to sign him to a 5-year deal. And I'm a little bit baffled, not at the fact that the Saints want to sign Michael Thomas to 5 years, and not even the fact that he wants $22 million. I'm just at a loss for words because we have members of the Who Dat Nation that are questioning Michael Thomas getting his big contract. I mean, I'm just confused, man. I just don't know what to say. I mean, I'm on here because I need clarity. I need somebody to explain to me, how can somebody in their right mind believe that Michael Thomas does not deserve a long-term $100 million contract with the New Orleans Saints? I'm just confused. Somebody need to explain this to me, because for the last couple of days, people have come to the State of the Saints podcast on Facebook, and they have been commenting and saying that Michael Thomas does not deserve to be one of the highest paid wide receivers in all of football. And I'm like, what in the hell are they smoking? I mean, it's just crazy to me, man. But that goes to show you right there, these are what I like to call entitled Saints fans. You know, the Saints fans that probably haven't been around for a long time and probably have been spoiled at the fact that the New Orleans Saints have been a winning franchise for the last 12 to 13 years. And now all of a sudden, they think that anybody could do what Michael Thomas has done. Newsflash to you. Michael Thomas in the past 3 seasons has caught more catches than any other player in his first 3 seasons of the National Football League. If anybody could do what Michael Thomas has done, then why in the hell is he the first person to do it? If he does not deserve his money, who does? What is every fan's biggest dream? That a team drafts a player and the player ends up being really good. And that's what we have with Michael Thomas. Every single year, I said it on the last podcast when we talked about his contract, every single year Michael Thomas has come and he has evolved. First year, he was good, playing alongside Brandon Cooks. Second year, the Saints traded Brandon Cooks because they knew that Michael Thomas could be a number 1 receiver. And he lived up to expectations. He played even better his second season. And how does he follow that up? By having a historical third season. And let me tell you how good Michael Thomas is. Michael Thomas was the main receiver every single week. The game plan for defenses was to double cover this guy, and yet he still was first team All-Pro. So I need somebody to please explain to me, why doesn't this guy deserve to be the highest paid wide receiver in the National Football League? He is 26 years old. He catches every single thing that Drew Brees throws to him. This guy only dropped 3 passes the entire season. He had the highest percentage of catches by a wide receiver. That means when they throw him the ball, he catches it. Nobody did it better last season than Michael Thomas. But, Michael Thomas, I mean, that's too much money. $20 million for a wide receiver, that's way too much money. But we didn't have no problem when Drew Brees got his big contract, right? Y'all remember that joint that came on? Sign Drew Brees, sign Drew Brees. We were happy about that, right? But signing Drew Brees, let's not forget all of the offensive line issues that we had, because Drew Brees took up the majority of the cap room with the big contract, so the Saints had a couple bad seasons. And let's not forget that we did not put Drew Brees' foot to the fire. And I love Drew Brees, but we did not put Drew Brees' foot to the fire when he had an opportunity to take a pay cut and he didn't. And all of a sudden now, Michael Thomas is the guy that we want to go after. Oh, he's nothing without Drew Brees. Be that as it may, Michael Thomas has done what needed to be done in a Saints uniform ever since he put on one. And that's all we ask for as fans. And it's amazing to me how some fans want to count players' money when these guys earn it. And I understand where you're coming from, right? How much is enough? I mean, every single year it seems like these guys just get, just mind-boggling money. I understand that. But when a person works hard, they dedicate themselves, and they buy in, they deserve to get paid. Michael Thomas deserves to get paid. Now, I understand people are talking about players down the line they're going to have to sign. That's not Michael Thomas's problem. I hate to say it like this, but it's not his problem. And if we have a problem with Michael Thomas, all I'm saying is we should have had a problem with Drew Brees when he didn't take a pay cut. Because there were several players that possibly could have come along in free agency that the Saints could have signed if Drew Brees would have took a pay cut. Oh, but we don't want to have that conversation because we love Drew Brees. But I love Michael Thomas. I love Drew Brees, and these guys deserve their money. It's not up to them to make things move. That's up to Mickey Loomis in the front office. Okay? Michael Thomas did what he needed to do. Give that man his money. He deserves to be the highest paid wide receiver in the National Football League because his contract is up. He deserves to set the market. Okay? He deserves that. So, all these fans out here, I'm dying to know. How can you say that Michael Thomas does not deserve to be the highest paid wide receiver in the National Football League when his numbers say that he should be the highest paid wide receiver in the National Football League? Oh, and another thing, while everybody's talking about, I know what they're probably going to say to me. They're going to say, TJ, well, Drew Brees, he kept the same contract and the Saints got better year after year. That's because they got a guy in the front office by the name of Jeff Ireland, a good scout that scouted players like Ramczyk, that scouted players like Alvin Kamara, that scouted players like Marshawn Lattimore. That's the reason why the Saints became so successful, who got players like Marcus Williams, because the Saints got good players in the NFL draft. It wasn't because of any person that came through the door. Who was a person that you can say, for the exception of Max Unger and Demario Davis, that the Saints have picked up in free agency that has changed the way the Saints play football? Those are only two. Max Unger getting traded in that Jimmy Graham trade and Demario Davis coming over from the Jets. Besides that, the Saints have got great young players, and these guys have come along, and now the Saints are Super Bowl contenders every single year since these guys have gotten to the league. It wasn't because of Drew Brees and Drew Brees taking pay cuts. I can tell you that right now. But I would like to hear from you. You have the floor. I would like to see comments down below. Why do you feel that Michael Thomas needs to be or should not be the highest paid wide receiver in the National Football League? And for those that don't feel that way, I would love to hear from you. I love to hear from you. I need you to break this down for me. Okay? So comment, like, and share this video. This has been another edition of the State of the Saints podcast. Previous episodes are available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio.com, and also subscribe to the State of the Saints podcast on YouTube, youtube.com, search The State of the Saints podcast. Till next time, all I have to say is, who dat?